unfortunately, many people all across the state don't have that option to run home when their child is sick. They have to choose between losing a day's pay or going into work sick themselves, or not taking care of a sick loved one, and obviously also potentially infecting somebody at their workplace, whether it's a customer or a colleague. So we're here today to talk about a bill package that we're introducing both in the Senate and the House, that we know that in general, happy and healthy employees are more productive in the workplace and also more productive when they're home. This isn't the first time the Democrats have introduced this bill package, this legislation, but we hope it's the last. It's a long past time for Michigan to make sure that workers, no matter where they work, are able to fulfill their destiny and be productive, as I said before, both at work and at home. And I'm going to hand it over to Representative Chang, but I'm going to give Representative Beggs a second to come up here. I know she's very passionate about this as well.
Thank you.
And again, thank you all for being here, and I'm going to hand over to Representative Chang.
I'm just taking it for people to file in. Are there other reporters out there that are trying to get in?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
You're listening. Okay. Well, thank you, Senator Ananick. My House colleagues and fellow members of the Progressive Women's Caucus really look forward to working with you to make this earned paid sick leave legislation a reality here in Michigan for all of our families. I'm Stephanie Chang, and I'm the state representative for House District 6, which includes part of the city of Detroit, River Rouge, and Ecorse. And I'm proud to again sponsor the bill for earned paid sick time again in the House this session. As Senator Ananick mentioned, the reality for far too many hardworking Michigan families is that they are forced to make the maddening decision of either going to work sick or risk losing their job and staying home to get well, either staying home to care for a sick child or family member and risk losing their job, or going to work and hoping that nothing worse happens to that child or family member when they're gone, either taking time off to get treatment for a serious illness and recover or risk losing their job, or going to work when they really should be at home. No one should be forced into making these choices. Yet people have to every single day because not all employers in Michigan offer paid sick leave. If they get sick and don't come into work, they don't get paid, or worse, they get fired. If they're lucky enough to have paid vacation days, they probably have used them up already to cover the illness. But it's more likely that if they don't have paid sick leave, they also don't have paid vacation days. So this is a lose-lose situation for the worker, for the public, and even for the employer. When a sick coworker comes into work, or a restaurant server or cook is forced to work sick because he or she can't afford to take time off, everyone is at risk for getting sick. This isn't good for the workers, and it isn't good for the employer because productivity and profits take a dive when you're sick and trying to work. The fact that they cannot earn paid sick leave is hard on working women and their families. In Michigan, the average woman earns about 77% of what a man earns, even when adjusting for similar jobs and experience, so she's already at a disadvantage. So when she becomes ill, or her child or family member gets sick, it's that much harder for her to cope with the lost wages because she has no paid sick leave. And if a woman is the only employed adult in the family, the consequences of not having paid sick leave are even worse. As a mom who has had her daughter in daycare, the fact that parents who do not have paid sick leave are more than twice as likely than those whose employers do have paid sick leave are likely to send their sick child to daycare or school is a bit frightening. Offering paid sick leave to workers is just common sense. So how big a problem is this in Michigan? More than 1.7 million Michigan workers, about 44% of the private sector workforce, aren't able to take a paid sick day. It's time to change this, and that is why we're reintroducing bills in the House and Senate to require employers to allow full and part-time workers to accumulate paid sick leave. So these bills would do several things. One, it would require employers to set aside 1 hour of paid sick leave for every 30 hours an employee works, regardless of your part-time or full-time. Stipulate when a worker could use this earned time off, including their own illness, the illness of a close family member, or recovery after a violent crime. Protect all Michigan families, including families with same-sex partners, grandparents raising children, domestic partners raising children, and single-parent families. These bills would apply to all employers, with a carve-out for an employer with fewer than 10 employees. These are common-sense provisions that will keep workers healthy, on the job and productive. By allowing the paid sick leave to accumulate over time, it won't be a financial hardship on any employer. Paid sick leave will make a huge difference in the lives of working women and families. So paid sick leave would mean that working women won't lose money out of their paycheck when they miss work to care for themselves or a sick child. Paid sick leave also does not mean that an employer will go broke for offering it. Our proposal would allow workers, both part-time and full-time, to accumulate 1 hour for every 30 hours of work and stipulates when a worker could use this time off. So this proposal will make it actually easier for employers to offer paid sick leave and reap the benefits of having workers who are healthy and focused on their job instead of worrying what's happening at home. And so now I'd like to introduce Christina Hayes, who's a mother from Detroit, to share her story.
Hello, my name is Christina Hayes, and I am a lupus survivor, or I like to call myself a lupus warrior. And every day I fight an extreme struggle dealing with pain and different symptoms. As someone dealing with lupus every day, I definitely do support this legislation because it's definitely a smart step towards definitely giving us, or lupus patients like myself, the chance to not have to choose between going to work or missing doctor appointments. I was diagnosed 10 years ago with lupus when I was 19 years old, and at my previous workplace, I had to make choices. Do I go to my doctor appointment to get my blood drawn because the doctors are telling me I have lupus nephritis, meaning my kidneys are failing? I went to work, my stats at my job began to decrease. I was at risk for being fired, but instead of quitting, I fought to go to work every day and miss doctor appointments, and my health decreased, and they ended up even having to call the ambulance at my workplace and send me to the hospital. So it's like, do you go to work and you pass out, you die trying, literally, or you put a legislation such as this in place to help people like myself. Lupus, it is a chronic autoimmune disease, and over 1.5 million Americans are suffering with this. So there are many patients like myself that do get hit with flares, and it's random. You don't know when your health is gonna take a turn. And if I had a chance to actually get the treatment that I needed, it would be only once a month. So if you think about the timing and what they're trying to implement, it could actually bring about healthier employees at their workplace, and they don't have to make that choice to either decide to go to work or pass out at their job. Luckily, with proper care, though, people with lupus like myself, they can survive, but we do need to go to doctor's visits. We do need that sick time off, and we are the employees that make these big corporate companies run, and we have the capabilities to do that. We just sometimes need a little time off. But with this earned pay sick time legislation, it'll definitely help people like myself make it and make more happier employees that way. I commend the sponsors for this bill package, and I urge the committee chairs in both the House and to the Senate to give them a hearing. We deserve to have our voices heard. We deserve earned paid sick time, and it's a life or death matter when you have to choose from missing work or going to the doctor. So I definitely support this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine, for sharing that really important story. So next we will have Danielle Atkinson from Mothering Justice.
Hello, my name is Danielle Atkinson. I'm the founding director of Mothering Justice. We are an advocacy and leadership development organization here in Michigan that works on issues of financial stability. I just want to first thank Representative Chang and State Senator Ananick for their leadership on this issue, and thank you so much for all of the representatives and senators that joined us today in support of earned sick time. The term working mother is redundant. Mothers, fathers, along with every person that takes care of someone, doesn't start work when they punch in on a job or sit at their desk. They're leaving the job of caregiving to go to their other job. But what happens when you wake up sick or you get that phone call from school that says your child fell and might need stitches? These are the situations that every person faces. But unfortunately, many people cannot afford to take time off when they're sick to get well. It's not okay that any employer can force a person to leave their sick bed to go to work. It's not okay that a parent has to send a child to sick school who has a fever because they fear that they're going to lose their job or not be able to make rent. But this is the case today in Michigan. Right now, our laws are silent when it comes to these hard issues. But we have an opportunity now to meet the rest of the world and have a standard that protects people's physical well-being along with their financial well-being. A few years ago, when we were debating this very issue, the chief opponent, the head of the Restaurant Association, wasn't at the hearing to voice his opposition. Why? Because he was at home with his wife and his newborn child. The right decision. But unfortunately, having time off to care is a privilege that comes with a fancy title and a big paycheck. This bill is about people like my mother, someone who left her job in the daytime caring for patients as a nurse, only to go home and try to recover from the chemotherapy that eventually helped her survive cancer. This bill is about the mom who has to send their child to school with the flu because she's going to lose her job. And this bill is about Kelly, one of our leaders, who has a child with a chronic illness, who if she sends her child to school with that child with the flu, it could be a crisis. This bill is about Brooke, somebody who we've learned to love, a business owner in Ferndale, who said, when I asked her to support this issue, she said, of course, because I rely on my workers for my bottom line, and they rely on their children rely on them for survival. We look to Lansing to make laws that embody our values. The values that say everyone has a right to take care of themselves. It's time for no person to be forced to choose between the job they need and the family they love. So we're here to ask the same things that Christina so eloquently asked, that this bill get a hearing along with being passed. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Danielle. And last speaker is Representative Erica Dice.
Thanks so much. I am Representative Erica Dice, and I serve the 12th House District, covering Romulus, Taylor, and a part of Van Buren Township. And I'm very proud to be a co-sponsor of the House legislation. This bill both bills are directly related to the Family Medical Leave Act, which, as of last month, was 24 years old. And when it was passed, it was a huge step forward for workers because it meant they could deal with illness without the fear of losing their jobs. But the FMLA does not require employers to pay workers for the time off they can take, and it doesn't address all of the health situations. So we have to do better for our workers, and we have to go farther. This is why we are still leading the fight for earned paid sick leave. And I have a strong understanding of the value of earned paid sick leave because my family, my husband in particular, has had to stay home to care for our young daughter. Last spring, my daughter was very seriously ill, and having access to paid sick leave meant that while I was here in Lansing, my husband could stay home with her when she had a fever of 106. It meant that he didn't have to take time off from work, he could work from home, and we didn't have to hop into some Motrin or Tylenol and send her off to school. It meant that we had one less thing to worry about, well, two less things to worry about. We knew she was in good care, but we also didn't have to worry about losing the paycheck or losing the job that allows us to do things, like pay for the things that we need to survive as a family. It's not good enough, though, just to be lucky enough to work for the right employer. Our health, the health of our loved ones, and our economic security shouldn't rely on luck. A allowing both full-time and part-time workers to earn paid sick leave just makes sense. We all know how hard the flu has hit our friends and families this year, and we know that the flu, for example, can kill the elderly, the very young, and those who have compromised immune systems. And all of us in this room have probably wondered why in the world that person at the checkout counter or seating us in the restaurant came to work when they were so obviously ill. They are at work not because they don't know any better. They're at work because they couldn't afford to take a hit in their paycheck. A hit to paying rent or the mortgage. A hit to other important and necessary bills. We've seen enough health scares in recent years to understand the wisdom of paid sick leave. Nobody wants to take the flu or a virus home and spread it to their spouse, their kids, or their parents. No one wants to send a young child to daycare or to school when they're sick, and they don't want their healthy kids to bring illness home with them. And if you send a sick child to daycare or to school, it's almost certain that the school will call you and ask you to pick up your child because they will do and they should do whatever they can to keep illnesses from spreading throughout the school. So allowing workers to accumulate 1 hour of paid sick leave for every 30 hours of work is the right thing to do in Michigan. It's the sensible thing. It's the caring thing to do. And that's why we are introducing this bill package again this session, and why we will continue fighting for its passage. I'll turn it back over to Representative Kay.
So at this point, we'll open up for questions.
So this isn't the first time similar legislation has been introduced. So what is the plan to make it happen this time?
Well, I think that what we've seen is that there's growing public support for earned paid sick time. After we introduced these bills last session, there actually was polling done that showed that 86% of Michiganders actually support earned paid sick time and specifically support legislation like this. So I think that very clearly Michiganders across the state, whether you're Democrat, Independent, Republican, and no matter where you live in the state, support this issue. So we're gonna keep pushing, and really this should not be and is not a partisan issue. So we'll keep advocating and keep bringing up the voices of folks who are most affected by these issues.
I know at one point Representative Geis mentioned that, she and her husband were lucky to have jobs that provided paid sick leave. Do you have any data or idea if this disproportionately affects like lower wage jobs or hourly jobs as compared to like a 9-to-5 office gig?
Yeah, I think we do have that, and maybe Danielle might want to chime in, but especially service industry, professional workers.
Yeah, I think, your assumption is correct that people who are getting paid less have fewer benefits, and they are disproportionately affected by not having the opportunity to have this on the job. But everyone gets sick, so everyone needs this.
How did you come up with the 1 hour for every 30 hours worked?
Yeah, so we wanted to make it something that was reasonable and balanced so that it wasn't a hardship for the employer, and also so that it was fair for the worker. And their babies. So that's sort of how that 30 hours was brought to, but I think it also is looking at other states and other cities, what they have. 30 hours seem to be a good balance.
Did anybody happen to listen to Donald Trump last night talk about paid family leave? And
No
his
question about
reaction to that?
it. No question about it. It's obviously, there are plenty of things that we disagree about. But paid family leave is one that I think crosses all sorts of partisan boundaries. And obviously, the president thought enough of it to speak to it last night. And I think our colleagues in the House and Senate should join us and make this a nonpartisan issue. Like they potentially maybe in Washington.
And to piggyback on that, do you think that there's a certain amount of inevitability behind something like this? That it's not a question of if, it's more a question of when, something like this?
Your mouth to God's ears. That would be
Well,
great.
I
I hope so. I mean, I think it's long past time. Obviously, in the 6 years that I've been here, and some of my colleagues have been able to do this, we've done a lot to help the business climate, the state, but the workers that are in those businesses need to have the same sort of positive, productive climate for them as well. And I think this is one of those, worker-friendly, business-friendly policies that we see in other states, other countries that help with productivity and are also humane. I think it's long past time, and I'm hopeful that it'll get done.
And if I could just add, Rev Moss was saying the time is now, and I couldn't agree more because, every day there are people who are being impacted by this. And so what we're seeing with the just huge amount of support that's coming forward on this issue, it's an incredibly popular issue. It's something that, again, like I mentioned, is a bipartisan issue. And with whether it's Christina or Danielle or Erica or anyone, we can't wait another day. So that's why it's a huge priority for our colleagues here and for ourselves, and we're just eager to see this legislation.
I'd like to add that the moms spoke here, and I'm not a mother, but my mother had the ability to take time off when her children were sick. But now I'm of age where my mother needs me to kind of mother her. And I think as we have an aging population, we'll see more of the children taking care of their parents. And so this is an earned paid sick leave. And so whether it's your person, your child, or you doing for your mother what she did for you, you'll see more of their children taking care of their aging parents. And so it'll benefit all of us in that way as well.
There's been work on it in the past in trying to put something like this on the ballot. Is that still being contemplated? Jamie, I don't know if you want to take that one.
I mean, we stay extremely committed to seeing earned sick time become law in several different venues. Right now, we are sponsoring a really great, I want to say, the best legislation in the country. But that's for another day. But we continue to fight in several different methods.
Okay, we'll do one-on-ones. Thanks, everyone.